Alright, YouTube, David Harry here. So straight into this, here's a couple of clips showing you some problems that I've had with my iPhone 13 mini. Okay, so I'm just out doing some camera testing with my new iPhone 13 mini. And there's this weird thing in the center of the screen here. Now, I can't tell whether that's meant to be some kind of weird lens flare or something, or whether or not that's something on the sensor or the lens. Now the lenses are completely clean. Now this is in its narrow field of view. Now if I switch over to its wide, let's see, it doesn't seem to be there, although there does still seem to be something a little bit maybe in the center of the screen. But if I flip back to the narrow field of view, there you go. So that there, it does feel like it's a lens type thing, a lens flare, because of the way it's tracking across the screen as I'm moving. However, it's very noticeable. It's not a traditional lens flare, let's put it that way. It's not something that's kind of like, you know, got an artistic look to it maybe. But yeah, that's definitely noticeable there. Okay, just another example here. What it is, there's now a dot right into the center of it here. Like it's just on the left hand side of the screen. You'll see it tracking across. Now that definitely looks like some type of flare, but that dot is now appeared as well. Although within the shape and stuff, it definitely looks like, you know, like a horizontal smudge as well, because that is staying pretty consistent when I go through it. When it catches it and it looks very obvious, you can see that the smudge element right there, that's definitely a flare. But that white dot in the middle, I mean, that would kill your shots for sure. But then when it gets over here, we can see that smudge type thing is there now. I don't know, maybe in post I might have been zooming in a bit here and trying to, like, you know, just kind of focus in on this thing just to get a better idea of what it is. But whilst it's even over here, the dot is there and the smudge is with it. Like I say, it is just too small on this phone screen for me to see as to whether or not that is some kind of blemish. Although that dot is definitely not a blemish thing. Like I say, there, that's a flare. You can understand why that would go like that. However, that smudge thing definitely isn't there. I have to say right now, I am so disappointed. Okay, so as we could see there then, some pretty nasty problems with my lenses on my iPhone 13 mini. Now I'm assuming for the best part these were all lens issues and nothing to do with the sensors. However, I have to make the point clear here that this happens on loads of iPhones, not just the 13 range. I had this last year on last year's SE and I had to send it back because I primarily bought that phone, as I have done this one, for using it for vlogging. Now, here's a couple of problems here. The lens flares, yes, you have to accept that lens flares will occur on all lenses. However, as far as I'm concerned, those lens flares that happen on iPhones are a bit too much. They happen far too easily, and no matter how careful you are at trying to get your angle right against the sun, they will happen. Also on top of that, I have noticed other people on YouTube showing multiple flares in the evening coming from street lights. So the thing with that is you're just not going to get rid of them. So it's happening all the time and far too much, and to a degree where they can ruin your shot. Now I showed also there the issue of that little white ball as well. So it's just a white point of light that tracks right across the screen. Now even if you had a lens flare that you could put up with, dare I say a flare that looked maybe slightly artistic, you definitely couldn't put up with that white dot into the middle of it as well. That definitely is going to wipe a shot out. Now there is also the third problem there, which is that what looked like a smudge. I believe that might just be unique to my phone. However, when I switched to the other lens, I'd assumed that I couldn't see it still because the size the screen on the phone is so small. However, when I look back at it just then, when I was looking at the secondary lens, there was still an issue in the same place on the screen with that as well. So I don't know, is that the sensors doing something? Is it the processing? Or indeed, is that a common flare between the two of them? And if so, why was it that weird shape? It did look like it could have been something that was maybe like an inverted image of, say, part of the clouds that were going on in the frame. But nonetheless, it was horrendous. It was just way too much. I was initially like, I was initially going to be prepared to put that down to just a fault on just my phone. However, it might not be. That might actually be some weird refraction that's going on due to the light coming through the clouds. I'm not entirely sure. Anyways, that's just an observation that I wanted to show people and to warn people that these things do happen on all iPhones, not just the 13s. But for me, it's personally very disappointing now because it is on the 13s, and I specifically bought mine for the cameras because I wanted to vlog. And the other problem is as well, if you're on the rear cameras and you're vlogging like this, you're not going to see what's going on the screen, so there's no way you can avoid those flares or any weird artifacts as they're happening because you can't see them. Anyway, just some considerations there for anybody who's thinking about buying an iPhone 13. I'm David Harry. Thank you very much for watching this video. Take care and goodbye now.